Hi everyone, guys. I hope I'm audible and visible. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Let me just take the reference once. A very good morning, guys, and don't get bothered with the shimmer at the back. I was trying to fix it since get out of it. Just a moment, and then we start, guys. Just guys, am I audible? Can I have your views about it? Am I audible? Am I visible? Okay, all right. A very good morning. Very good morning, people. We are just starting in a moment, waiting for everyone to join in, and then we start. Please don't be bothered with the shimmer. I do not know why it's existing today. I've been trying to fix it since from my end, but get it. Hi Nishya, Rishabh, Preetham, everyone. A very good morning, people. I think let us get started. People who have to join us, they will join us in a. Okay, so we were talking about some pastures yesterday. We're going to continue from the same, and some fresh pastures, of course. Before we start with the sessions, guys, just a quick reminder about certain things. In case anyone plans for the subscription for Unacademy Plus or Iconic, please do not forget to use the code Shweta80. It's the code you can use and be a part of Unacademy Plus. Also, this is a bit about me in case you do not know. I'm Shweta Sharma. I'm your VARC educator and recently started my master's from Masters Indian School of Business. And also, I hold an 10 years and all, and also an engineer in electronics. So, a lot of students are subscribing in, and that's good to see that people are investing in the education itself. So, Shweta18 is the code you can use to be a part of Unacademy Plus or Iconic. And nowadays, we do have huge discounts coming up for Plus and even the Iconic batch. Something which is available, which was earlier available at 23,000 is now available just at 18K. 26K is now available at 24, 35 is 32, and what we had for 40 is now available at 36. That's for 2 months, 2 years. So good deals being offered right now. And this is on till today as well. Of course, we do have a fresh batch started for you. We had a fresh batch that started on 7th of September. And then I know, Rishabh, that is what I was trying to fix since morning. I understand that. There is something, I think it's a time thing. The noon time when it's bright sun, everything fits in well. If it's early morning session, I see that it's a little shimmery at the back end, but I hope I would not be bothering you with that. So this is another batch, last mile batch that started yesterday, a couple of days back, 7th of September, and it's for 2023. If you're going for 2024 batch, right in 2024, then there's another batch, basic to advanced batch, that started recently again, 7th of September, 2024, and these are the faculties who are conducting sessions the same. So in case anyone is planning for the subscription guys, please do not forget to use code Shweta18. This is the code we can use and be a part of Unacademy Plus. Okay. And this is about the test series. So Unacademy test series is available at a very nominal price of 1,999. Also, we have these some of the seniors of yours who made it to the top IIMs and XLRI. You can also be one of them. So that's one of the reasons showing you what admits you to the top colleges. These are the benefits of Iconic and Plus. You can pretty much see. And we were on with some passages yesterday. We did one passage and there was another passage on entrepreneurship. There were a few questions left from this passage. I think we were done. Let's start with this one, a fresh passage. Let's start with this. Let me know once you guys are done reading, and then we can probably move ahead to the next paragraph. Okay, so it is just one paragraph to it, and an interesting and easy one. Passage hiding little bit. Yeah. I try to fix it up. I wanted my screen not to cover this, honestly. Maybe for the next class, I'll get in touch with someone and try to get it fixed again. But okay, I'll read it out for you. On the contrary, the more we discover about these remarkable creatures, I'll let you know where it writes it from. About these remarkable creatures. This is what's there before it. All right, you guys are done. I hope it's all good, guys. I mean, you can at least read what's there. Good morning, Samarth. How are you? Okay, good to go for the questions. Very simple passage, not very tough. Okay, let's quickly go through the passage together and then we can move ahead to the questions as well. It says dolphins are regarded as the friendliest creatures in the sea, and stories of them holding drowning sailors have been common since Roman times, right? So we're talking about dolphins being the friendliest creatures in the sea, and stories of them helping drowning sailors have been common since Roman times, right? They have always been known for helping the creatures who've been sailing and who've kind of were helped by the dolphins, and their lives were saved from getting drawn. The more we learn about these dolphins, the more we realize that the society is more complex than people previously imagined. Right? So another thing it talks about is that the more we get to learn about the lives, the more we get to see that the society is more complex, and what people earlier imagined, it's much more than that. They look after other dolphins when they are ill, care for pregnant mothers, and protect the weakest in community as we do. And then he talks about the dolphins. They have been like this. They have been really super caring when it comes to their societies. Just like we humans care for the pregnant mothers, they too care for the pregnant mother and protect the weakest in the community as we do. And they also protect the weakest of the creatures, just like we do, uh, weakest amongst themselves. And could any of these mammals be more intelligent than man? Then the author wants to talk about how they communicate, and then can they be more intelligent than us? It says some scientists have suggested that dolphins have a language, but it is more probable than they communicate with each other without needing words. So they do communicate with each other, they do talk to each other, but without actually needing the words. And could any of these mammals be more intelligent than man? So they are communicating with each other without needing any words. That's again a very intellectual thought for the scientists to think over. And they say certainly the most common argument in favor of man's superiority over them, that we can kill them more easily than they can kill us, is the least satisfactory. Then the author goes on to say that can they be more intelligent than us? Can these creatures be more intelligent than we humans? So probably yes. And the reason is because man's superiority over them is that we can kill them, whereas they are still alive, right? They would still not kill us at the same time. We might kill them, but they might not still kill us. So that is one thing where we feel that we are kind of superior than them in terms of killing them, killing those innocent creatures. On the contrary, the more we discover about these remarkable creatures, the less we appear superior than we destroy them, right? And then it says the more we destroy them, the less superior we appear, right? Because these are the friendliest creatures. The author starts the paragraph by stating it that it's the friendliest creature that is helping us, right? In sea and stories, it helps the sailors from getting drowned, right? At the same time, it's sad to see that how we humans try to dominate over them by killing them. So if we can be superior, we are just superior this way. Okay, can you guys help me out with the general idea of the passage? What is the general idea of the passage, the structure and tone? And then we can move ahead. Can you guys help me out with the general idea, structure and tone, guys? Hello, Mr. Mindfulness. Welcome to the session. Glad to see you joining us. Okay, dolphins are the friendliest creatures. Preetham, that's just one of the statements, but in the entire passage, the author wants to talk about that they are the friendliest creature, but are we humans are equally friendly to them? That's where the question lies. These creatures might definitely be the friendliest creatures, but are we equally friendly to them? That's a question. Relation between humans and dolphins. That could be one of the options we can consider. Passage talks about relations between dolphins and humans. What else? Dolphins are similar to humans. Even if they are the complex creatures, they are still the friendliest. Okay, why they're complex? Because they are helping their society. They are similar to humans when it comes to taking care of their community members. They communicate with each other without using words. And at the same time, when we try to show some kind of superiority, they probably are more superior to us. Okay, what's the tone of the author? Can we discuss on the tone of the author, guys? What's the tone of the author here? Right, superiority of dolphins over humans, right? So they are superior to us in every way. Still, we try to dominate by killing them. आर्ग्यूमेंटेटिव नहीं है, एनालिटिकल बोल सकते हैं, बिकॉज ही इज कंपेयरिंग डॉल्फिन्स बिहेवियर विद ह्यूमंस बिहेवियर. इट कुड बी एनालिटिकल. Bit of analysis is being done. A bit of comparison is being done with the human's behavior and dolphin's behavior. Oh, thank you so much, Anubhav. I'm just a little concerned that this shimmery background is not bothering you guys. If we are good, can we move ahead to the questions? Let's have a look at the questions and see if we can have some idea on what kind of passage was it. Let's have a look at this question. I hope it's visible. So last sentence talks about language and communicating with humans. This one talks about that live in the oceans. Okay. It's clear from the passage that dolphins don't want to be with us as much as we want to be with them, are proven to be less intelligent than once thought, have a reputation of being friendly to humans, are the most powerful creatures that live in the oceans, are capable of learning a language and communicating with you. This is what it talks about. Yes, so if you could just have a look at the question, guys, it says, dolphins don't want to be with us as much as we want to be with them. It's really not like that, because they have been helping us far more many times than we humans might have helped them. They have helped humans in getting saved from getting drowned. Are proven to be less intelligent than once thought. Proven to be less intelligent, they might be far more intelligent than we think them to be. Have a reputation for being friendly to humans. Yes, that is true. Are the most powerful creatures that live in the oceans. We are not talking about them being the most powerful creature. We are talking about them being the friendliest creature. Capable of learning a language and communicating with humans. I do not know. I have no information on option number E, guys. Nothing has been mentioned about learning a language. The passage does talk about some scientists have suggested that dolphins have a language, but it is much more probable that they communicate with each other without needing words. Okay, they do communicate with each other, but that's without needing words. We do not know about any language as such, and how they communicate with humans. No information has been mentioned on the same. Okay, we go for option number C here. They have a reputation of being friendly to humans. Okay. Next question. Have a look at this one. Then we decide what's the correct answer. Please have a look at the question, guys. Definitely, you can ask as many questions as you want. It's Vikas Thakur you're talking about, right? Yes. How to improve the reading comprehension marks? See, the basic idea is to practice the passages every day. You should be reading some passages every day, so that one, you work upon your speed. Two, if you're practicing passages, that helps you to work upon your accuracy as well. And third is the time management. Whatever you practice, after a few weeks, like if you've just started, maybe after a couple of weeks, after 15 days close to, you can try starting timing yourself, right? Maybe in 15 days, even if you practice 5 to 7 passages a day, you'll be able to practice at least close to 100 passages, right? So maybe if you're practicing 7 passages, 15 sevens makes 105, so close to 100 passages to at least pad loge. After those 100 passages, I'm sure that you would be able to comprehend well. You would be better at understanding where the question is coming from, or whether the question is a direct or an indirect question type. If you have that kind of understanding after practicing 100 passages, I'm sure everything would be pretty easy after a while. So maybe you can just try that, practicing passages without timing first, and then when you feel that you are good with the accuracy, then you can time up yourself. That's how you can build up on your marks as well. All students can write CAT, that's true. The only thing is that they would require you to at least be a person who's passed his graduation. If you're in your third year, you can plan for 2024. Oh yes, of course, science students also write CAT exam, but after their graduation, Vikash. Okay, CAT is for your masters. Okay, so Mohammed, one thing I feel is that this time again, the pattern is the same, but when it comes to cutoff, it might be close to what they had earlier. Again, it will depend upon what kind of paper do we encounter, how tough are the questions this time again, or if they have more of subjective. All of that matters to be able to decide whether the cutoff is going to be in the similar range or it's going to get shoot up. Okay, but yes, you can at least consider it to be similar to what we had in the previous few years. Guys, are we done with the question? Can we quickly discuss it? Yes? Tone, how to identify, is there an application daily? I'm reading newspaper, tone confusing. Acha. Kalyan, we're gonna have a tone session very soon. But even if not that, one, you can join us on Unacademy, the special classes we have, guys. We're having a lot of special classes on Unacademy app. So one, you can join us there, because there I'll be having a tone session very soon. Another thing is, whenever it's a question of tonality based question, um, there are certain tones type we have to learn, right? That helps us in deciding whether the tone is neutral, whether the tone is comparing. No, when it was comparing, we went for analytical. Whether the tone is didactic. If the author tries to preach something, he is didactic. If it is digressive, if he is moving away from the point of discussion, if he is moving away from the point of context, that becomes digressive. So all of this we have to understand. All of this we got to learn. Please talk Hindi or English. Amit, दोनों language use करते हैं. Don't worry about the language. All right, can we discuss the question? It says linguistic skills far beyond what we previously thought. Read the questions first or the paragraph first. My suggestion is always and always read the question stem. But before that, I mean, I'll just show you one thing, guys. When it comes to when it comes to any question type, what you got to do is you got to understand if there is a passage, say, which has some 5 paragraphs. Okay, if there are some 5 paragraphs altogether, I suggest my students to please read the first paragraph completely. Read it completely. Read this paragraph completely. The rest about these paragraphs, read 1 to 2 lines. Okay, read 1 to 2 lines each and move ahead to the next one. Read 1 to 2 lines each and move ahead to the next one. Right? So make sure that you're reading the first and the last paragraph completely. The rest few paragraphs, you can just read a few lines and move ahead to the next one. Because here, you would not find a lot of content which is, when the author gets into detail, you just need to know where an example has been quoted or where a certain thing has been quoted. You don't really need to know what is there in the example. Okay, because the question might, why a certain thing has been quoted in the passage. Okay, so maybe probably then you can just move ahead to the next one. Okay, let's have a look at the question now. So let me know if you're done with the question. We could discuss it. Okay. Just looking for the lightning. If I could fix something. Okay. The fact that the writer of the passage thinks that we can kill dolphins more easily than they can kill us. This question comes from here. We are more superior to them. Man is superior to these dolphins. Could any of these mammals be more intelligent than man? Certainly, the most common argument in favor of man's superiority over them, that we can kill them more easily than they can kill us, is the least satisfactory. This is the least satisfactory thought, that we can kill the dolphins more easily than they can kill us. On the contrary, we discover about these remarkable creatures, the less we appear superior when we destroy them. Okay. So if I look at the question now, the fact that the writer of the passage thinks that we can kill dolphins more easily than they can kill us means that they are better adapted to their environment than we are. We are not talking about the environment adaptability here, right? So we're not talking about whether they are adapting to the environment better or are we. Second size shows that dolphins have a very sophisticated form of communication. So again, killing has nothing to do with sophistication and communication here. Good reason to eliminate this. Proves that dolphins are not the most intelligent species at sea does not mean that we are superior to them, or proves that dolphins have a linguistic skills far beyond than previously thought. No, nothing to do with the linguistic skill. So C or D, what should be the correct answer? Yes, what seems better? Proves that dolphins are not the most intelligent species. We are not talking about intelligent species. Does not mean we are superior to them. Just because we can kill dolphins more easily does not mean we are superior to them. Here it says, certainly the most common argument in favor of man's superiority over them, that we can kill them more easily than they can kill us. Right? So this is what the author talks about, that we can kill them more easily than they can kill us. This demarcates the superiority. Okay, it doesn't mean that we are superior. Answer has to be D, Delhi for this one. Has to be does not mean we are superior to dolphins. All right. Let's move ahead to the next one now. Please have a look at this question. I'm sure an easy one again to be solved. Okay. All right. So one can infer from the passage that dolphins are quite abundant. Abundant is like huge in number. in some areas of the world. Are we talking about dolphins' number here? Communication is most fascinating aspect of, is it the most fascinating aspect? You need to check on that. Have skills that no other living creatures. We are not comparing dolphins to any other creature. It is not usual for dolphins to communicate with each other. It's not that they're not usually communicating. Have some social traits that are similar to humans. Okay. So if you're confused between C and E, I hope you got the answer. The answer has to be E. They have some social traits that are similar to those humans. And this is something we could infer from the passage, because the author says that they look after other dolphins when they are ill, care for pregnant mothers, protect the weakest in the community, as we do. Some scientists have suggested that dolphins have a language, but it is more probable that they communicate with each other without needing words. Okay. So this is where the question comes from. All right, so it has to be, yes, it has to be dolphins have some social traits that are similar to those of. What does that mean, Bikash? कैट एग्जाम पढ़ने के बाद क्या क्या पढ़ सकते हैं? पूरी लाइफ पढ़ते थोड़ी ना रहना है. उसके बाद किसी कंपनी ज्वाइन करोगे या फिर अपना कुछ वेंचर चलाओगे, है ना? Either you'll be an entrepreneur, which we talked about yesterday, or maybe you'd work for some organization. Okay, we're done with the first passage. Let's move ahead to the next question, next passage now. Right, so this is the passage we're talking about, Estonia. Very interesting passage. Let me know once you're done with the reading the first paragraph. I'll take you to the next slide. Please have a look at the paragraph, guys. Unsinkable ship, similar to what we had for Titanic. Anurag, I'll be starting with the plus classes soon, but not right now. Like maybe from end of the month or maybe from the next month. Last line का meaning थोड़ा प्रीतम. It's talking about it had been thoroughly inspected. Inspected means checked. Before the fatal. Fatal means something which happened to be a disaster. Disastrous. Something which happened to be more of a, a very severe thing that happened. All right, can we move ahead to the next slide? Have a look at the next one. Yeah. It's similar to what we had for Titanic. Okay. Yes, Baltic Sea is the name of the sea, yes. Hmm. Threads and needles. Okay, can we discuss it? But we have questions, so let's quickly discuss the passage if you're done reading. You can help me out with the general idea, the structure and tone of the passage. All right, let's go through it together. That is good, Muhammad Umair. You definitely can improve on your speed further. But if you're already 610, it's good. So this is the last paragraph, Aditya. Let's go through the passage together. It says naval architects never claim that a ship is unsinkable, right? So he's talking about a very generic thought that people who construct ships, right? People who construct boats, ships, and what not any yacht. So they always and always want that particular ship to not to sink, but they never claim that it'll never sink. They always try their best to create it in a certain manner that it has least number of faults, but still never claim that it's unsinkable. But the sinking of the passenger and car ferry Estonia in the Baltic survey, Baltic surely should never have happened, right? So it's talking about naval architects. They never claim that the ship will never sink, but still Estonia would sink so quickly, right? And maybe in its very first voyage, that was never ever expected or anticipated, right? So that should never have happened. That should never have happened. मतलब इतना तो पक्का नहीं होगा कि वो पहले ही अपने voyage में चला के डूब जाएगा. It was well designed, carefully maintained. It carried the proper number of lifeboats. It had been thoroughly inspected the day of its fatal voyage. Even the day when it was going for its voyage, the very first voyage, the fatal voyage when it got sank, even that particular day, it was well thoroughly inspected before leaving for the voyage, right? So before it left, it was very well inspected, was checked at how it goes for the voyage. Yet hours later, Estonia rolled over and sank in a cold, stormy night. Still, it happened after a few hours. Estonia rolled over and sank in a cold, stormy night, right? Still, it sank after a while. It went down so quickly that most of those on board, caught in their dark, flooding cabins, had no chance to save themselves. And it was so dark. It was so, it went in so quickly that people had no chance to save themselves at that time. The flooding cabins and the darkness it was caught in, it was something that it just went on quickly and it was no more. Of those who managed to scramble overboard, जो लोग किसी तरह से चढ़ के ऊपर आ गए, only 139 survived. The rest died of hypothermia. Hypothermia means thermal means temperature, right? If I'm talking about something being hypothermic, right? So hypothermia is what we're talking about here. We have hypo and we have hyper. Hyper pressure and hypo pressure, right? So this is under. This is temperature. That means it was very cold in the water. The water itself was very cold. Very cold is what I'm referring to here. So yet hours later, Estonia rolled over and sank in cold and stormy night. And then it goes on to say what happened. Details have been mentioned. Most of them on board, caught in the dark, flooding cabins, had no chance to save themselves. Of those who managed to scramble overboard, somehow some people came overboard. Only 139 survived. The rest died of hypothermia. The temperature was very cold before the rescuers could plug them from the cold sea. Okay? Before people could actually come and save them from the cold sea, they had already died in the cold sea. The final death toll amount to 912 souls. Only 139 survived. 912 passed away during this voyage. However, there were an unpleasant number of questions. Now, this is where the controversy lies. Ki how come the number of questions that arose were Why the Estonia sank? First of all, why it sank? Because it was so well inspected before its voyage. Why so many survivors were men in the prime? Majorly, men survived, while most of the dead were women, children, and elderly. So there were questions regarding why the voyage happened so fatally. Second, why primarily only man survived? Why the rest of the women, children, and elderlies were the ones who drowned? Okay. So can you guys help me out with the general idea, the structure and tone of the passage, guys? Quickly help me out with this. Let me know once done. Yeah, Estonia is the name of the ship. Kalyan. Okay. What's the general idea? What's the structure of the tone? Structure of the passage and tone of the author. When I say structure, what is the role of the first paragraph? What is the role of the second paragraph? That is what I'm looking for. In case you guys might be thinking of writing GMAT, guys, this is where you'll find that the questions, based on the structure would also be there. I am not sure about the country, but yes, it was the name of the ship, just like Titanic we had. Okay. So general idea is how Estonia, which was meant to go on a very safe voyage, on the very first voyage, it had a fatal end. And the question eventually arises, why most of the people who did not survive were women, children, and elderly. Ship which was well inspected, yes, but still did not make it to the voyage. All right. Tone of the author. How's the tone of the author here? It's narrative, and at the end it's interrogative, right? He narrates the scene, what happens, and at the end he goes on to interrogation. Okay. It's more of narration and then interrogation. All right. Let's move ahead to some questions now. Right. How a ship got sink and shrink नहीं है, ये sink है. प्रीतम. Sink, sank, sunk. इसीलिए sunk cost भी यूज करते हैं. Shrink is to, yeah, to get squeezed. So what do you understand from the passage means यहाँ पे inference based question हो सकता है, or it can be a simple true false question. ठीक है? So life saving equipment did not work well and lifeboats could not be lowered. Guys, for this you'll have to refer the passage once. Please refer the passage very quickly. and then tell me if you find anything related to lifeboats. It's talking about the number of lifeboats. So it carried the proper number of lifeboats. It had been thoroughly inspected the day of its fatal voyage. Okay, so the life-saving equipment did not work well and lifeboats could not be lowered. Can we talk about it? Have we got any information whether they could be lowered or not? Design faults and incompetent crew contributed to the sinking of the Estonia ferry. What about B? Was it not designed well? Did it have faults while it left for the voyage? Or was it well inspected? It was very well inspected. There was no fault with the design. Yes. Nothing to talk about the incompetent crew. There's nothing mentioned about whether the crew was competent enough or not. 139 people managed to leave the vessel but died in freezing water. It was 912 who died. Naval architects claimed that Estonia was unsinkable. Did they claim that it was unsinkable? They never claimed that any ship is unsinkable. But still, they were never ever expecting that Estonia would not be able to survive even the very first voyage. Right? So again, most victims were trapped inside the boat as they were in the cabins. What about E? So here, hours later, Estonia rolled over and sank in a cold, stormy night. It went down so quickly that most of those on board, caught in their dark, flooding cabins, had no chance to save themselves. So it's a simple true-false question. But yes, pretty much you got to refer the passage and then answer. Answer would be E. Okay, the answer would be E. Most victims were trapped inside the boat as they were in their cabins. Be caught in dark line. Preetham, I hope the question is clear, guys. Can we move ahead to the next one now? Next question, guys. Have a look at the next question. Then we discuss it. Idea is to be able to eliminate the incorrect options, verify them from the passage, and then answer. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Guys, in case you guys haven't joined the Telegram channel, we have pinned it for you. So please make sure that you join us here itself. Okay. It is clear from the passage that survivors of the accident. Survivors means people who were saved. Right? What is mentioned about saved? People who were saved. Helped one another to overcome the tragedy that had affected them all. We have no clue about any information which talks about that people who were the survivors, they helped each other to survive. Were mostly young men, but women, children, and the elderly stood little chance. What about B? Right? Were mostly young men, but women, children, and elderly stood little chance. Means there were little chances for women, children, and elderly to survive. helped save hundreds of lives. No, only one something was saved, but again, saved hundreds of lives, they did not help. Still suffering from severe post-traumatic stress disorder. It's going beyond the scope of the passage, right? It's going beyond the scope of the passage. Nothing has been mentioned about whether they're still suffering from any post-traumatic stress disorder or not. So nothing has been mentioned on that. Told the investigators nothing about the accident. We do not know what happened post the accident. Link is not working. I think it should work. ये टेलीग्राम चैनल है पूरे कैट टीम का. How will it not work? I'm sure it should be working well. Answer for this question has to be B, Bombay. They were majorly the ones who were women, children, and elderly who were, engulfed in the victimized, who were the victimized ones, or who were engulfed in the very murderous truth of the waves. Right? It should be B, Bombay is the correct answer. Mostly young women, young men, but women, children, and elderly, they stood a little chance of survival. Okay. Next question. Last question for this paragraph, and then we have another passage to be dealt with. According to the passage, when the Estonia sank, what all happened? Okay. All right, we are confused between B and C. We'll just check it over. So according to the passage, when the Estonia sank, what all happened? There were only 139 passengers on board. One of the passengers were asleep. Few of the passengers were asleep. What's been mentioned about this? There were enough lifeboats for the number of people on board. Enough lifeboats for the number of people on board. Faster reaction by the crew could have increased the Estonia's chances of survival. We have no information how the crew worked on that. All the passengers had already moved out into the open decks. No. We're left with two options, B and C. Few of the passengers were asleep. There were enough lifeboats for the number of people on board. So have a look at the passage, guys. Have a look at the passage. So, yet hours later, Estonia rolled over and sank in a cold, stormy night. It went down so quickly that most of those on board, caught in their dark, flooding cabins, had no chance to save themselves. Of those who managed to scramble overboard, only 139 survived. The rest died of hypothermia before the rescuers could plug them from the cold sea. Final death toll came out of this, and why only women and this thing happened. So, if we look at B and C, there were enough lifeboats for the number of people on board. Can we say there were enough lifeboats? It carried proper number of lifeboats. Yes. It is mentioned in the paragraph. It is mentioned in the paragraph. So, there were enough lifeboats for the number of people on board. This should be true. Few of the passengers were asleep. We are not sure on that. So, answer has to be C, Calcutta. Athar, what happened? Why no? A तो नहीं होगा. There were only 139 passengers on board. There were 912 who died. A तो नहीं होना चाहिए. Or whether they were sleeping or not, there is no information on the same. They were stuck in the cabins, but maybe they were sleeping, maybe they were not. How do we know that they were sleeping? But we are definitely sure of the number of lifeboats. It carried the proper number of lifeboats. Yes, that's what the passage talks about. Are we good on this? Any doubts here? Question asked, when the ship sank. Okay. Let me give you 2 minutes, quickly go through it and tell me. What is your understanding? What do you want? Like, if it was not where the ship sank, when Estonia sank, what happened? What is your answer for this? Not before or after? Okay. What's the understanding? There were 139 passengers on board. So even if the Estonia did not sink, still there were 139 plus 912 and maybe few more we haven't talked about. Right? So this is definitely incorrect. It has to be something beyond this. Right? Close to 1200, 1300 people. Okay, so this is definitely incorrect. Few of the passengers, 139 is not survived. Is survived not there. In 139 के लिए वैसे भी what they've mentioned is only 139 survived, 912 passed away. Final death toll amounted to 912. Okay, so that is the reason we are eliminating A. B talks about few of the passengers were asleep. कुछ passengers सो रहे थे. अभी सो रहे थे कि नहीं सो रहे थे, we have no information on that. ठीक है. Third says there were enough lifeboats for the number of people on board. If you come back to the passage and check, I think the passage states clearly enough about the number of lifeboats. It says, naval architects never claimed that the ship is unsinkable, but the sinking of the passenger car ferry Estonia was more like a surprise. It never have happened. It was very well designed, carefully maintained, carried enough number of lifeboats. This also mentioned is absolutely true. Had been thoroughly inspected in the day of its fatal voyage. So inspection के बाद ही उसको भेजा गया था. Right? It is also mentioned properly. So can I say that there were enough lifeboats for the number of people? This can be considered. Okay, D. Faster reaction by the crew could have increased the Estonia's chances of survival. Anyone who thinks that D could be the correct option or can be considered? Have we been made any information on Estonia's crew? No, no, no. Athar, see one thing. Enough boats होती तो वो लोग बच जाते, ऐसा नहीं है. जाने से पहले वो लोग enough life boats लेके गए थे. रीजन क्या बताया उसने बताया कि एस्टोनिया rolled over and sank in a cold stormy night. It went down so quickly that most of those on board caught in their dark flooding cabins. वो लोग बाहर ही नहीं आ पाए. उनको बोट्स तो तब देते ना जब वो पानी के अंदर जा पाते. वो अपने केबिन्स में ही स्टक रह गए और केबिन्स के अंदर पानी भरता गया. तो उनको वो अगर ओवर द बोट स्क्रैम्बल करके आ भी जाते, मे बी दे कुड हैव बीन एबल टू सर्वाइव, बट बिकॉज दे वर स्टक इन देयर केबिन्स. वो अपने जैसे रूम्स, छोटे छोटे रूम्स में, लाइक यू मस्ट हैव सीन टाइटैनिक, तो भी ऐसे ही हुआ था ना. पीपल वर स्टक इन द केबिन इटसेल्फ. अगर आप अपने केबिन में ही स्टक रह जाओगे, देन देयर इज हार्डली एनी चांस दैट एनीवन कैन सर्वाइव और पीपल कैन सेव यू. ठीक है, सो इट्स नॉट अबाउट द लाइफ नंबर ऑफ बोट्स. आपने अपनी तरफ से पूरा सामान अच्छे से कैरी किया था. यू हैड इनफ लाइफ बोट्स. टाइटैनिक में तो लाइफ बोट्स नहीं बची थी. तभी लास्ट में जैक एंड रोज, उनको एक ही बोट पे, ओनली वन ऑफ देम कुड सर्वाइव. बट हियर it's the proper lifeboats were there. The point is that they could have enough time to save everyone because water got into the cables. and they were stuck in the cabins. Okay? I hope this is clear now. All right. And then we talk about faster reaction by the crew could have increased. So crew members ढीले ढाले थे ऐसा तो नहीं बोला उसने. All the passengers already moved out in the open decks. All the passengers could not. In fact, they were stuck in the cabins. That's why the answer has to be B, Bombay. Oh, sorry, not B. It has to be C. The answer is C. There were enough lifeboats for the number of people on board. Okay. Are we good with this, guys? Now we catch up at 9 p.m. for the critical reasoning question. Right, we'll be practicing some CR questions. The only thing is that in case you guys are planning for the subscriptions, please do not forget to use the code Shweta18. This is the code you can use. And let's connect at 9 p.m. now for the critical reasoning. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. Yes. Live every day, but we have a different timing. Generally, we are live at 3 and 5 p.m. But today, since it's a Sunday, I thought that people might be a little occupied, so I thought of taking a session in the morning. Okay, so let's connect at 9 a.m. itself. Not 9 p.m., it's 9 a.m. Like another 25 minutes. It's a.m. Yes, not p.m. Oh, mindfulness. That's sweet to know, but there wasn't, I think, and that's why only Rose could survive. So we're connecting in another 20 minutes, guys. It's 9 a.m., not p.m. Just a reminder. Okay, we're catching up again for the CR session.